All right, moving on. Let's get into the upcoming season, Avengers versus X-Men, which is funny because, again, as much research as you think I would do for this show, I usually do it about 2 days before the show was recorded. As far as Avengers versus X-Men being the upcoming season, I had no idea what we were getting until the season dropped.
I had seen the cards but didn't know the theme. I'm like, man, that's a weird mix of people.
Right. Okay, let's talk about our premier card here. This is going to be coming with the season pass, and that is Hope Summers. 3 cost, 4 power. After you play a card here, you get +1 energy next turn. My notes were to get her out as early as you could, get Kitty Pryde involved, and just start spamming her onto that location and getting an extra energy every turn, and Sunspot out there if you can. I think this will be a fun card. If you have the $10 to spend, get the season pass. I think I've seen her a few times out there already.
But confirm.
I think okay. All right. You bought the season pass.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So what's your thoughts?
I was looking at that lineup of cards, and Hope seemed pretty good. Yeah. Kitty Pryde is perfect. My first thought was pair her with Havoc, and then I'm like, oh, wait a minute, you have to play a card on her. Okay. And then I was like, well, you could use this card and this card. But then what I figured out is I may have tried at one point to build a deck with her, but mainly I just started putting her in other decks. I put her in Iron Slot, put her in my trio deck with Silver Surfer, put her in that Galactus Destroyer deck. Anywhere that I needed to try to get a card out early or to have, like I was using Electro a lot with the Galactus and Destroyer deck, and I put her there in place of Electro because, okay, you don't get that +1 all the time, but there's no drawback when you do.
Yeah.
That's what I started doing, is just putting Hope in a bunch of existing decks. And it doesn't always work, but it's a 3 cost, 4 power, and occasionally you get a +1 energy.
Okay. Yeah, and you can have her out there. Do I need it this turn? Okay, maybe I can wait till next turn and not play something there just in case you need that +1 or I should say, if you don't need to, it's there if you need it. If you need that +1, hopefully you've got the spots for it. You can grab it if you can.
Sometimes you can, there's not a limit on it. So you can put 2 cards on there and get +2 energy the next turn. Oh. And that's especially good if it's Kitty Pryde. So
right.
Yeah,
right.
She comes in handy.
All right. Next card, which released actually the same week, is a 2 cost, 1 power card called Pixie. The on reveal is shuffle the costs of all cards in your deck that started there. So what's you run into her yet?
Yeah, I have run into her, and I haven't paid close enough attention to notice. I guess I know at least one time somebody got in way more cards than I expected on the last turn that I think was due to Pixie. I tried to get her a couple times and didn't, and there's too many other good cards this season for me to drop another spotlight key on her. But my thinking is mainly just build a deck with 1s and 6s and then put Kyra in there so none of them can be destroyed. Don't know how well that would work. It seems pretty good in theory. Make sure one of those, I guess you would hope you would get Sunspot out first. That way, if you're using a lot of 1 cost, you're picking up that extra energy. But I can see her being fun. Seems nice and chaotic.
Right. Right. I think that it all depends, of course. If you do have 6s and 1s in there, that's where it's going to be fun to watch. Oh, now I've got Magneto, and I've got this other 6 cost card for 1 cost. That would be awesome to see.
Of course, it also could. It's like, I've got a 6 cost Spider Ham. This is terrific. Yeah, it's kind of random. It definitely would be fun to have, if nothing else. Definitely could make everything break your way, or could let you know pretty quick you need to retreat.
Right. All right. Next up is Mockingbird. 5 cost, 9 power. Costs 1 less for each card you have in play that didn't start in your deck. That's interesting. So you got to have these cards out onto the battlefield in order to, in the location, in order for her cost to drop. And the one thing that I put in here was wonder how she works with Mysterio. And I don't know if they count all 3 of those cards as being, one of those is definitely in your deck. I don't know if they count the other 2.
I don't know.
But what else?
Get Mysterio from the hub or somewhere, but that's hard to count on.
Ooh, that'd be nice. Yeah, that's 3 you didn't have for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't really have, other than just you got to get some low cost cards that you didn't have in your hand in the first place. I guess if you got Thanos, then all those Infinity Stones, and you can drop those Infinity Stones out there. Oh man,
but again, they have to be in play.
Yeah, they've got to be dropped.
It wouldn't. You couldn't play them and then Killmonger them out or whatever.
That's true, but you get her down to like.
Then drop a 5-cost card for nothing, then Killmonger them. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see.
If I think that's probably going to be something I'm curious now, because I bet you will see like 0 cost 9 power Mockingbird get dropped when 5 Infinity Stones out there. Although you don't see that very often. I bet you what will happen is they'll get by turn two. Turn 2, you have a situation where you can get her power down to possibly 2, because you have Infinity Stone out there on 1, and then 2 more Infinity Stones out there on turn 2. At that point, you've dropped her to a 3/9.
Yeah.
And then turn 3, you can drop a 3/9 if you want. Which
it looks like that could help her. But
well, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, that's the card I think I want the most. It's either this one or the next one.
Okay.
I want to add her to my Collectosaur deck because I'm already adding a bunch of cards in that one. I think she'd be good in there, and finally a reason to play on the Orcus Forge and play those Sentinels.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. That's a real good point, actually. I assume also the Hood gets you a 1-cost 6-power demon. You get him out there.
And who doesn't remember those classic West Coast Avengers stories where the team consisted of Mockingbird, the Hood, a Sentinel, the Collector, and Devil Dinosaur?
Yes.
Team up. Give me a call.
I'm telling you right now, I'm getting all those issues slabbed because of this card. That's what's happening. That's what
it is cool. Part of me is like Mockingbird, a 5/9, but
she's pretty cool. But man, oh man, yeah, 9 power.
And she's got connections to a lot of different groups. I guess that seems to
folds in.
She's S.H.I.E.L.D. She's Avengers. She dated Spider-Man for 5 minutes.
All right.
So yeah, okay. That's the one. It's either this one or the next one.
Yeah, the next one.
Yeah.
This next one, Cannonball, 5-cost, 8-power card. On reveal, move the highest power enemy card away from the location that you're in. If you can't do that, destroy it with a rock. I think this is like, it's a lane winner in my opinion. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, definitely. Although if there is room to move them, it could be a lane loser on another one.
For sure.
But might be nice to have him follow up Galactus, because ain't nowhere you can move him.
That's true. That's really true. Yeah, my combo that I had was debris to fill up stuff, so that you know for sure, or at least can have a better idea of if he's going to be moving or not. Save him for the last turn after filling everything up. I don't know, man. This is going to be... It's going to be a game changer, I think. And I don't know. I feel like I've said that about other cards before, and then they get laid out there and you're just like, okay. Who was it? Gladiator. I thought that was going to be a game changer. Not the case. It seems like I'm not playing him a whole lot. But Cannonball definitely feels like, okay, I'm going to win this lane. I'm going to move this guy over. Or, well, no, I'm not going to move it over. If you've got one lane won by Professor X, you've got the game if you got Cannonball in your hand, because he's going to move him over to the other lane, possibly. Okay, can't move. I'm going to kill him.
Yeah.
I don't know, dude. I think.
Yeah, definitely. Nice combo with Professor X.
Yeah, Professor X and Cannonball. That's what you're going to see. I bet that's going to be the overall combo there. People are going to, we're going to have to come up with a defense, which I'm going to tell you right now, it's got to be, you got to have Cosmo in your deck. That's the only thing I can think of to kind of try and avoid this, or armor. But armor's not even going to save you if he can move him. It's going to be interesting.
Definitely.
Now, next up is War Machine, 4-cost, 6-power. On reveal until the end of next turn, nothing can stop you from playing cards anywhere.
Yeah, not quite sure how that fits with War Machine's effect. Cannonballs is excellent for his power, but yeah, I can see that being very useful. You pointed out Infinite. You wouldn't have to skip a turn. That would be great. And he's Zabu compatible.
True.
Just like in Iron Man 357. That didn't happen. But yeah, that's good.
Zabu and War Machine just tearing it up there in the comics.
I use Zabu with all kinds of cards. Don't ever use them with Shanna and Kazar. But and I don't care. I underestimated Zabu so badly. Didn't try to get him, and then once I got him, just haven't stopped using him. But anywho, War Machine, this might be the best slate of cards I've seen for a season. Since they started doing it predictably, or since I started knowing where to look, from the featured card on, there's not a bad card in here. Pixie might be the quote-unquote worst card in this slate, and I already dropped 2 spotlight keys on her and strongly considered a third, and would have if it hadn't been for the rest of these cards.
Yeah.
And also, the arrival of War Machine, I don't remember if it clears your list, but it does clear our first top 5 from my perspective. That was the last unsnapped character on my top 5.
Oh, does it really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I can't remember if you had somebody on there.
I don't think I had War Machine on there. I'm pretty sure. I can't remember my top 5.
Yeah, we ought to. It'd be a lot more challenging top 5 now. And Cannonball wasn't on my list, but he was like number 6, I think.
Oh, honorable mention.
Yeah, he was on the outside looking in there. Yeah, it'd be interesting. I think it was Snap Lore tweeted like, hey, if you think Marvel's going to run out of characters for Snap, and I remember Cannonball was on that list, and he went there's a lot of, all the A-listers are in the game and most of the B-listers, but there's still some pretty cool characters out there. And this is a pretty good list. Hope and Pixie are 2 of the newer characters in the X-Men family. Pixie, they always come up with a new crop of young mutants, and one of them always sticks around. Like it was Armor, and then Pixie was like kind of the next generation of that, and Hope's been kind of taking center stage in Immortal X-Men. But Hope and Pixie are probably the 2 most obscure. And like I said, Mockingbird's never been A-list, but she's connected to all the
She's
A-list.
been there, right.
And Cannonball and War Machine are probably the top Avengers and X-Men options that haven't been there. This is a great slate.
I'll agree. I head over to Reddit because there was a post that I'd seen a few days ago, and I wanted to bring this up and read this to you and get your thoughts again. This is about War Machine. All right. Okay. This was a post that was written by Fairval, I think his name is Faerval. Anyway, he asked one of the developers about War Machine. All right. Here's the question. War Machine and Infinite. Clearly, I saw this before I made my list. Yes, and then I remembered. But anyway, his question was, will War Machine's ability enable the playing of cards like Infinite or Ebony Maw on the next turn, ignoring the restrictive effects? Then in the second paragraph, he puts, in a similar vein, will his ability bypass restrictive effects like Sandman and Electro? I assume he would, due to how Jeff works, but it would be great to have clarification. And the response was yes and yes.
Nice.
Yeah, expect that to be happening with War Machine. Sandman would probably be a good one because he affects both parties. He affects both people. Sandman and War Machine, just like an Amazing Spider-Man. Issue 145.
Well, hey, at least Sandman is an Avenger.
It's true. That's true.
So he was an Avenger. I was going to go with Electro in Web of Spider-Man number 87, but you beat me to the joke.
All right, locations.
But stealing my material.
I know it. Your Snap material.
Yeah, for the first location, I'm going to Legion it.
Wait now. All right, locations. Oh my goodness. All right. Well, the first one is a return, right? This is the return of Krakoa.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Definitely
Krakoa,
not as annoying.
Right. Krakoa originally, what was that? It was like
it was Ego, but only on turn 5.
That's right. But
we're going to change Krakoa, but we're still letting Ego. I like Krakoa better than Ego. It's better as a one turn effect that messes up a turn, just like friggin' Dream Dimension, rather than one that just flushes the whole game away.
Mm-hmm. Right. Well, this go round, Krakoa is now your first play here, adds its power to the top of your deck. Clearly, the strategy is going to be low cost, high power. If you see Krakoa drop on turn 3, turn 1 even,
Mm-hmm.
You lay out Ebony Maw turn 1 on Krakoa, and 7 power goes to the next card that's going to be drawn, which is going to be pretty cool. I think that's you want to go low cost, high power, and yes, I will Legion this too. Just to see what happens. Just to see what happens. I'm going to try and Legion it early, though. But anyway, that's my thoughts on Krakoa. What about you?
I'm actually writing my cards for my deck that I want to use when this is the hot location. Because, yeah, you'll want to take advantage of that, but you also want to have Shang-Chi in case people have some cards that usually aren't above 10 power.
True.
That suddenly are. And if that's the case, then it's a good day to have Scar with you. Mm-hmm. Gladiator, Ebony Maw, higher cost, higher power, lower cost, like you said.
Yeah.
So, and this also fits with Krakoa was a living island, so it did make sense for it to take over for one turn. But this also fits because what Krakoa, the first time the X-Men encountered Krakoa, it was luring mutants to it because it fed off their energy. And now that everybody's living on Krakoa, it just takes a little bit of energy to sustain itself.
Okay.
That is also comic accurate.
Nice.
Although, fine, we've got a new use for Krakoa. Now make Ego just on turn 5.
Please.
Ego.
All right. All right, next up.
This past season, Ego played Iron Man on a location on turn 5, and then on turn 6 played nothing on that location.
Thanks, Ego. We appreciate it.
It's not even random. It's the objectively worst play. Anyway, sorry about that.
Oh, that's all right.
I'll show you on the action figure where Ego hurt me.
Next up is Utopia. This is going to be a fun day. I already have at least 5 hours scheduled to play when Utopia drops down. Because, yes, Legion is going to be involved. Utopia 3 and 4 cost cards cost 1 less. My plan is clearly going to involve Legion, but I think the star of the day will be Mobius, because I'm getting Mobius out there before I Legion everything, and Mobius is going to stop their cards from being reduced, their 1 less cost. Mm-hmm. And then once Legion drops, I'm going to have a field day. I've got Quinjet and Coulson on there to I'm just going to have a card. I'm hoping by the end of this day, or by the end of my first game, I'll have a handful of nothing but like 1 and 0 cost cards.
And remember to bring Sunspot along to soak up that energy.
Oh yeah, Sunspot for sure.
And to further irritate your opponents, put Iceman in there.
Yeah. Oh, that's brilliant. That's good stuff. There you go. That's my plan. I'm Legioning. I'm having Mobius in there just to ruin their day, and then Quinjet and Coulson, I'm going to try and get just a bunch of low-cost cards that are going to just make it a mess for them. What do you got? What am I missing?
Zabu and Silver Surfer.
Oh, you're right.
There you go. Zabu will reduce. If you have Zabu and Quinjet out there and Utopia, you're playing 4 cost cards for 1.
Wow, Wong needs to be involved, because if you can get a bunch of 3 and 4, well, excuse me, if you can, it's 3 cost cards that Silver Surfer helps, right?
Yeah.
You need a bunch of 3
cost. But that gets Wong out there earlier. So yeah, always Wong and Silver Surfer travel together frequently in my decks.
Oh yeah.
And they're both friends with Doctor Strange. That's not as much of a reach as War Machine and Elektra.
It's going to be a crazy day, dude, because people are going to be dropping things really powerful for low cost. Wong's going to be a staple. I guarantee you we're going to see a lot of Wong.
Yeah, it's going to be a Wong day.
It is going to be a Wong day. And Cosmo is what? 3 or 4?
Cosmo's a 3.
3? So we're going to have Cosmo there for 2, ready to go. Man, it's going to be a crazy day. I just see people are going to be having stuff. I like, again, this is my type of location. This is the kind of location that changes the game so much that you're going to see so many different decks. You may see the same cards over and over, but I almost can guarantee you the same cards are going to be. You're going to see a lot of 3 and 4 cost cards. That's for sure.
Yeah.
But it's going to be a fun day, I think, for sure.
Also, if you want to mess with people, be sure to have Scarlet Witch and Storm and Rhino in there.
Oh,
take their fun away.
Take their fun. Well, I'm all about that.
I mean, you've already got Mobius. Why not?
Mm-hmm. Why not? All right. Well, there you go. There's the upcoming season. That dropped, by the way, March 5th, 2024. We're recording this on the 10th. I hope to have this hopefully this episode here before the next card drops, which will be Mockingbird. But either way, kind of keep an eye on things. It's going to be a fun season for sure.
Thanks a lot for joining us. Make sure to tune in tomorrow for the next installment of Snap Material.